Hey, it's John Shapiro, here we go. Knows the road rules better than most folks know. Ask your questions, bring the heat or keep it chill. He's got the answers and a license to spill. Ask a traffic cop, Sean's your guy. Breaking it down, no lie, no tie. Knows the stuff and things to keep you clear. Ask away, he's the voice you want to hear. Badge, now a podcast star, navigating traffic laws near and far. Stop sign confusions or a signal light feud. Sean's the one to give you the right attitude. Yeah, ask a traffic cop, Sean's your guy. Breaking it down, no lie, no tie. Knows the stuff and things to keep you clear. Ask away, he's the voice you want to hear. From this man.
What's going on? Happy Wednesday night. It's Ask a Traffic Cop After Dark. My name is Sean Shapiro, former police officer who's now a civilian, aka not a police officer anymore. I've come to grips with it. I hope you can too. I've got coffee at the ready. Yes, dad jokes are loading. If you got dad jokes, please let me know. Please share with me because I like them. Hang on, I gotta lean off the screen here. I didn't pull my. I felt like there was one less screen. I have 3 giant screens up, but I missed my iPad. It wasn't scaring me into submission here. I need to have that up so I can appropriately monitor another platform. Yes, we are currently streaming on everything, if it's all working. We are now on, let's see here, we're on TikTok, Kick, Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. We are on TikTok, Instagram, X. We're everywhere, man. And it's awesome. I'm really excited about it. Wherever you're watching, I appreciate you. If you don't already follow me, please do. And if you are watching on TikTok in particular, please tap the screen till your fingers go numb. It really helps the algorithm identify this as a show worth watching. And what is this show for? It says Ask a Traffic Cop on the screen. That's because I used to be a traffic cop when I was a cop. I had a focus on traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff in general. And that's what I answer questions about here on live streams. I want to make myself available to you despite the fact that I'm no longer a police officer. I know stuff and things that can help you out. If you want to know stuff and things, drop a question. I will answer. That's how this works. There's no there's no issue here. Ask me anything. I don't it's not a difficult situation. Now there are things I want to talk about like coffee. That's just a thing that I think is important right now. I'm drinking it. What is your preference? A, are you a Timmy's versus Starbucks or other person? Do you take advantage of the A&W promo when they do it? I want to know. For brewed, when you're driving around on the wheels, car, whatever, commuting, what's your beverage of choice in the coffee variety? Now, when you're at home, do you brew? Are you one of these fancy people who has the drip or the French press, or what do you do? Now, I have invested in the auto grinding machine. I have invested in a K-Cup. I've gone through a few versions of K-Cup. My last one was purchased at Costco, and it largely makes hot chocolate now for the kids. I don't drink coffee with it anymore. I don't like it. I find the coffee icky. Then I invested in Nespresso, both the original and the fancy, wide, larger one with the barcodes. Anyway, I want to know what you drink. What's your choice? I'm cleaning glasses, can't read nothing right now, but I had lint on the glasses, and I like clean glasses, and I cannot lie. I'm really fanatical about having clean glasses, and of course, I had schmutz on my lenses. I could not deal, and thus I had to fix it. And I'm addicted to the These in particular, these are the lens wipes from Zeiss. Gotta love them. I started using them when I got a laser. They came with my laser cutter, and ever since then, they are like I have to have them. Like I was actually driving somewhere, and realized I was not armed with lens wipes. I drove to Shoppers and bought the closest thing. Now, once upon a time, I went to Florida and I went to their CVS store to buy some of those. They didn't have those. They had a cheap knockoff, totally unacceptable. CVS, that product sucked. It was your home brand. And I had schmeary, crappy, not clear vision for it was just couldn't clean them enough, no matter how many packets I used. Anyway, Droner Wayne and Liz Chu came in with good evenings. I'm so used to the morning show for Wednesdays, but good day, good evening, good night, whatever it is to you. Liz says has a question. We'll get to that in just a second. I see a bunch of people watching on the Instagram. If you're coming in on any of the new channels, please give a shout out. Please let me know if you can see us on Rumble. Actually, I'm going to do a quick thing and try not to be too distracted doing it. Actually, we'll wait. Someone will jump in and say hello. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. Yeah, someone's watching on Kick right now. We got people watching on YouTube right now. Nobody currently on the VoiceOver Cop Facebook page. On Rumble, nobody's watching. Nobody's on Twitch right now, but that's okay. We will continue. I just like to be available. That's what I'm saying. Okay, let's see what's going on the TikToks. We got a bunch of stuff. Ario Fandang Doost sent a heart, a gift, a thank you. A quick shout out to the fact that we are on, we are a show that is produced by the Canadian Organization for Better Traffic Safety and Education, and the reason that is important is because we are funded by the magical people at Diamond and Diamond, and or at least the organization is funded partially by sponsors. So I thank them for sponsoring the Canadian Association or Canadian Organization for Better Traffic Safety and Education. You'd think I'd be able to say that without hesitation because I started it. I launched it, and still it's a mouthful. I call it Better Traffic for short because it's easier. Anyway, moving along. Bon Bon says, hello, is it allowed to drive whilst having AirPods on? I love that you used whilst. I use whilst all the time. It's a great word. You may in Ontario wear AirPods or other headphones and drive. It's not illegal. Now, the reason is A, there's no charge for it, but B, you don't have to have hearing to drive. There are deaf people who drive every single day and they're damn good drivers. So why in British Columbia or Alberta could you be ticketed for covering both ears? I don't know, but they charge you for it. It's against the law there, but not here. And that's why it's an important distinction to say that different jurisdictions have different laws. They vary slightly. For instance, drinking a coffee in Alberta could be distracted driving. Could be, doesn't mean you're going to get a ticket, but they could lay it. I believe in British Columbia they will lay it. I look forward to having cops from that jurisdiction back again to talk about stuff and things. I'm going to sip my coffee now. Oh, I like coffee. Coffee good. And here's the funny thing about that coffee discussion that I started earlier but never really finished. I'm drinking instant coffee, but I love it. I don't know why. It's the best damn coffee. AK says, some people say that driving after midnight on a G2 is not allowed and you're not allowed on the highways. Those people who say that are wrong. A G2 license has nearly no restrictions, but the restrictions between midnight and 5 a.m. are real, just not about driving on highways or driving at all. So a G1 cannot drive between midnight and 5 a.m. Period. Zilch. No driving. However, a G2 driver can drive solo at any time of the day or night, but they're limited to their immediate family if they're under 21 in the first year of their driving. And they're limited to one person between midnight and 5 a.m. Other than their immediate family, actual blood relatives. And they're after 6 months, they're upgraded to 3 people under the age, if they're under the age of 20, the passengers. I have the driver's handbook. I have the driver's handbook here. I don't want to shuffle through it. I have videos about this specifically, and you can find them. However, I kind of want to find this because now it bugs me when I don't have the ability to rhyme it off at 100% immediately upon being asked. It's kind of my personal thing. Let's see here. Stand by. I will get my lookity up thing. A screen. We'll have a quick look up. Okay. Now, the otherwise, it's completely. It's almost like a full license. Okay. Da, 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 da. Do a search here. There we go. I don't like typing and looking at screens and reading while I'm on screen because that dead air is no fun. So if you're 19 years or older, younger, there are extra passenger restrictions between midnight and 5 a.m. First 6 months after you get your G2, you can only have one passenger aged 19 or under. After 6 months, you can have up to three passengers aged 19 or under. However, those don't apply to the immediate family. Yeah. There's other things too, but I mean, the fact is that while you're a novice driver, you can get, if you get a ticket with 6 demerit points, you are going to get a suspension. We can talk about that too. All right, let's continue with stuff on things. Bon, we covered that. Hello, Daisy Lemon says, hello and congrats on retiring. How many years did you have as an officer? So, Daisy, I had a mixed bag of service. I started as an auxiliary officer. I did 12 years as an auxiliary, and simultaneously, whilst let's use that wonderful word that Bon used, whilst serving as an auxiliary, I also became a court officer, then as court supervisor, and then an auxiliary sergeant, and then I traded those two uniforms in for a police constable uniform, which I then wore for over 10 years as a constable. So 2012, my total service was just shy of 25 years, but it was still shy of 25. I didn't get my medal. I would have loved to have had a medal for long service, but I did not get. I did not get. And it's also long service as a paid member. I did as an like I had broken service. It was a bit of a story, but it was a wonderful story. I love that my primary comments coming in from Kick are, "Hey, would you like to buy some followers?" No, no, bot. I do not want to buy followers. Okay. Liz says, with 400 series highways, which part of the highway is known as the Lincoln? So, what? With our 400 series highways, which part of the highway is known as Lincoln? The Lincoln. I don't even know. Is that? Am I supposed to know the answer to this? Let's ask ChatGPT if they know. Talk about it like it's a person. Um, Ontario 400 series. I want to know now. 400 series. Unless you want to just enlighten us. Series highway. What's the Lincoln? Let's see if it knows. Wouldn't that be cool if it doesn't? Lincoln Alexander Parkway called the Link. Is that what we're talking about? In Hamilton? I mean, I've been to Hamilton. I have family in Hamilton, but I don't really know enough to know nicknames of things. Had no idea. It was opened on October 15th, 1997. The speed limit is express on this expressway is 90 kilometers an hour. Amazing. And Radix says, hi, Sean. The Link is in Hamilton. He was like, right on it. Right on it. And then, regarding our 400 series highways. Okay, the Link. I keep it on 680 News, but I don't know what it is here. Oh, I see. Okay, cool. And Liz says that they always wear one ear pod while driving so that I can hear my iPhone directions more clearly and still hear what's happening around me. I mean, that's reasonable. And depending if you have ones that have the soundprooficity, the active noise canceling, press it again, then you can still hear even though you're wearing them. But one in is good. I mean, back in the day, every headphone was one in. You just got used to it. Now it's joy to have true surround sounding. Like the number of drivers in these headphones, the technology that can do, like the wild stuff. You turn your head and it's wild. Anyway, I tend not to wear headphones while I'm driving because we're bopping out to whatever's on Sirius XM radio or learning something on a podcast. Like there's so many options for great listening in car. Melody says, coffee and I do not get along. It's a dangerous gamble. I've learned to live. Like this show is entirely run on caffeine. There's nothing to say, nothing else to say about it. Brandon, how's it going? I saw you had a message, but we will, what? Sketch. Oh, somebody comes in from Kick and obviously is 12 years old because they said, it says, how does it feel to be old and broke as F? Yeah. Okay, so we'll move on. I just like acknowledging stupidity sometimes. Let's move on. I drive for Uber sometimes. I got a request for with 5 passengers. Can I take all 5 of them in my sedan? That would be 5 passengers plus me, 6 people in total. Here's the answer to your question. How many seatbelts do you have in your vehicle? If your vehicle is designed to accommodate 6 passengers, then you can have 6 passengers, including the driver. If your vehicle only has 4 seatbelts, you cannot take more than 4 people, period. Each person in the vehicle must occupy a seat that has a seat belt that was designed to have a person and has a seat belt available. Now, that wasn't always the case. It used to be that as long as everyone who had a seat belt wore their seat belt, you were okay. That's not the case anymore. The loophole was closed. Everyone in the vehicle must have a seatbelt. Now, if they're over the age of 16, they get the ticket for not wearing one, but it's not a good thing. What is this? Oh, I got to block somebody. Hang on a second. What a day. Okay, whatever. We'll say here, add to block list. That's what I did. They might be able to put on kick, but they can't actually can't actually. I can't see them anymore. Okay. The joys of being on every platform. Someone wants to be heard and acknowledged. Let's see here. We got Brandon. Brandon says, "Hello, Sean and all from Daytona, Florida. I had the Mustang RTR at the track today. Hope you had an amazing day." That I want to see photos, man. Like, you sent me something earlier. I haven't looked at it. We have a chat on Telegram, and maybe it's a photo of this amazingly magical vehicle. In 2026, Florida is getting speed cameras. So while the Ontario government is stupidly canceling the program, I say stupidly with true conviction. I've been having conversations with leaders and organizations across Canada that know how valuable ASE is and are questioning reality, watching the Canadian or the Ontario government get rid of something that is known to work. But yeah, we're all looking at it going, I wonder if someone's going to sue the government because the government is wrong. Like, they make mistakes all the time, but this is so clearly backed up with evidence, and that they're still swimming upstream because of, I guess, personal wants and needs. Um, it's going to look really bad when the death toll goes up, won't it? Just saying. I've said that every time I've testified on the subject. Um, the articles I've written for the newspaper, I'm consistently saying it's a dumb move, but no doubt they will do what they do. Okay, let's go back to the TikTok chat and see what's up. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. We got a bunch of stuff here. My apologies. Just to let you know, I am reading chats in multiple forums, and thus I am not a quick response all the time, but I will get to you. User error says, "You watching the Jays game doing this?" No, I'm not. I'm not a sports guy, and I love that everyone is loving this stuff. I mean, I partied when they won the World Series. I have hats and T-shirts from last time they won. I don't care anymore. I'm busy reading story time before bed for my kids and prepping for show and doing work and accounting and everything that I do being a business guy. Now that I'm, maybe when I was a cop and I could just go to sleep and wake up and just as long as I showed up, I got paid. Now I got responsibilities. Yeah, it's things, stuff and things. Okay. I run Underglow. Is it legal? The answer is it depends. Underglow can be legal if not violating a bunch of laws. Now, there is no underglow per se. What there is, however, are regulations as to what color light you can project to the front, to the back, to the sides, and so on. If your underglow is installed in such a way that the only thing being seen is the reflection off the ground, the bulbs themselves are not visible, I would argue that you're fine. Now, if you're flashing lights in any particular direction, or even having solid lights in certain colors being projected forward, backwards, or to the sides, you could run into problems. The only light or only color of light you can project forward is white and yellow. The only thing you can project backwards is red and yellow. If you're projecting anything else, you might just have some problems coming. So that's the answer on that. I think it's cool-ish. I think it was really cool in the 90s. I don't think it's as cool now, but I think it's great for posing in the parking lot. I don't think it really needs to be run when you're on the road, and not every cop agrees. Like, if you talk to Sergeant Murray Campbell of the Toronto Police Service, he'll tell you that if he sees the light, you're projecting it at him. Now, we have disagreements as to how light projection works versus reflection, but it's going to become a triable question. Doesn't matter what I think or he thinks. If he lays the charge, he's going to take it to court, and it matters what the justice of the peace or judge, the bench, thinks. So they may agree with me or with he, but it don't matter. because you're still going to be dealing with the baloney of dealing with a ticket. Nobody wants that. Nina Kimura Ayubi followed me, and I thank you for the follow. Melody says, I use microfiber for my glasses. The ones that Corey sells are great. Cut them into quarters. Corey is an awesome dude who, if McMullen Appliance Center, I think that was it. What's their actual username on TikTok? We're TikTok friends. Yeah. Oh, Nina is moving to Brazil. Well, that sounds amazing. I have friends who are from Brazil. They've come here. What's bringing you to Brazil versus being here? Is there something I should know? Maybe we should all go to Brazil. Actually, I think my friend had laser eye surgery in Brazil. He says good things about Brazil. Anyway, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer who talks about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. I used to do it 5 days a week as a police officer. Then I retired from policing and now do this from my home studio or my office studio. But I do it not as a police officer, as a former police officer, because I still know stuff and things, and I want to share it with you so you can know stuff and things before you do stuff and things that might get you in trouble or hurt. At the end of the day, I want to make roads safer for everybody. Now, we got Adriana, who says hello. Hello, Adriana. How are you? Sean Dripland says, how do you manage training and night shifts, joining the academy soon and wondering about this? You want to know about like weight training, keeping yourself physically fit versus like night shifts to me were the best friends, totally best friends. Now my story is, if you're new to my channel and don't know my history, I was on the road as a police officer, and then I got into a crash. I was a motor officer, part of the motor squad, and I got hit by a car that's taking me off the road. And then I never got back on the road because my injuries were long lasting. And although I'm doing far, far better now, I've had actually some tremendous improvements since leaving the police service because I've been able to focus on me. Very hard to really do shift work, family work, and then also focus on health. People do it, but at the expense of other things. Like you give up other things. You have to be very, very disciplined with your time management. So when I was trying to recover from my collision, I eventually started doing the gym on my lunch. I'd come in, either take my lunch at the beginning and start off in the gym for an hour, treadmill and whatnot. While you're on the road, you must make it a priority, because bad guys train and you need to train because you don't want the bad guy to out muscle you. You need to be physically fit to stay in the fight. But night shifts were the best thing. I loved it. I'm one who loved it. Everybody else seems to have hated it. If you're watching on TikTok, please tap the screen till your fingers go numb. It brings more people to the party to ask questions, and you might get a question asked by somebody else that you never even knew you wanted to know the answer of. But when they asked, you said, wow, I needed to know that. And that happens all the time. I don't know how to use your name, but GRNNNJ says, absolutely no blinkers, but signaling with hand signals. Absolutely legal during the day. If you're on a right-hand car, I say during the day. I don't think there's truly any difference day or night, but I have to think about that. Would it be nighttime? It's still, if your vehicle doesn't have them, that's your only option, right? But if you're in a right-hand drive, you need to have a placard assigned to the back of your vehicle that says right-hand drive car, so they know where to look for those hand signals. Most modern cars have them. Melody, do you have to have signals on a car to be safety, or is there any restriction? Melody's a mechanic. She's in the audience. And yeah. Oh, I in my head it popped out a mini the daytime nighttime thing, but I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know where it came from, but it was a thought. We got here Woot Dre. I can't even say the J's. Woot J's triple. Okay, so what's the score? Woodell Engineering. What is going on there? What is going on? I got to tell you, there's not many vehicles that I see that are using hand signals. Oh, Brandon says Brazil is nice, but Florida is closer. I'm a big fan of Florida. Gotta say, I did live there for a while. It was quite nice. Someone says, "Answer me, Sean." Oh, let's see this. They said, "I know that's not true. I've been after this for too long." What is not true? I love it when people troll and make statements, but at the same time, I have no idea what they're talking about because they're not completely. That's no question. Melody says that's not a question. It's true. It wasn't a question. Elusive trans producer. I did not pronounce that very well, but they followed, and thank you for the follow. Ahmed says, "What's the consequence of right U-turn right to pass a red light?" I see many do that. A right U-turn right to pass red light. Oh, okay. So if you can do it legally, so you make a right turn after you make your right turn on red legally. So you come to a stop, you've ensured it's safe to proceed, then you make your right turn safely, and then you make a U-turn lawfully. I give that advice to use that function to bypass a red light that's malfunctioning legally. So you have to be able to do it safely and not when it's prohibited by sign. So Ahmed, that would be legal as long as you're not interfering with traffic or causing any issues to anybody else. It's a good question, though. I like it. I approve of that question. Now, if you're doing it just because you're really impatient and you get into a collision, you're going to wear it because obviously it wasn't safe to do. So, there's always that to take into consideration. Cobra phobia. Cobra phobia? Like, are you seriously scared of cobras? Or is it Cobra Kai? Or what are we extrapolating from your name? I was like obsessed with cobras when I was a kid. Can I answer a text message while I drive? Oh, in a drive-through. What is this? Sur de blue misses you. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. However, what province are we talking about? Because it's different. It may be different. In Ontario, the distracted driving laws saying that you can't have contact with your phone, you can't touch it and use it and enjoy the texting. Well, that doesn't apply in Ontario. You could pick up your phone and use it in the drive-through, whether you're using it to order McDonald's or whatever you're doing, as long as you're being safe. So if you're not moving, because careless driving does apply on private property, even though the distracted driving law doesn't, but careless driving does. So if you were like, driving and you drove into a lamppost because you were texting and there was evidence of that somehow, you would probably get done. Honda Migs, good to see you. They say, hey, Sean, so today next to my house, someone decided to try and skip traffic by driving the road construction zone, drove straight into a freshly poured concrete hole that's about 6 inches deep. Car got stuck. I imagine it would. I do love seeing when people who do dumb things get the FAFO treatment. Yes. Maybe it's not good to bypass and go into construction zones after all. I've seen some collisions where people just drive into giant holes and they usually learn quickly. It's a very quick stop. Short drop, quick stop. Let's see here. I run underglows and wides on my truck. Is that legal? So I earlier talked about underglow being depends. If you've got a raised truck and you may have issues. If you have super wide tires on that protrude beyond that of the fender or a fender flare, then you're probably running improper tires and unsafe. At very least, you'd be eligible for some tickets for whatchamacallit for mud flaps or some combination thereof. But they're definitely not legal if you have oversized tires that are not covered by those. Okay. And Melody says then obviously not legal. I agree. Vars 19 says, how can I get testers in driver? What is this? How can I get testers and drivers in trouble? I can't record them because I'm driving. When you say testers and drivers, do you mean that you are wanting to report people who are drive test instructors who are doing something inappropriate? I mean, what are they doing? I actually want to know because there's so much fraud, so much inappropriate stuff, people taking bribes based on the allegations I've heard. But yeah. At Melody's, someone says that the ex-cop has an answer. So many people really want to hear from me specifically. Melody's a mechanic, and you can also take Melody's word for many of these things because they know stuff and things. But they want me to answer specifically, and I think I just did, even though I'm in the background answering again. I appreciate that people want to hear from me and not in the chat from others, but there are some very learned individuals who are regulars on the show and either know because they know from me telling them 700 times because they're regulars here, or because they actually know stuff, like Melody, who's a mechanic and knows stuff that I don't know. So thanks, Melody, for being in the chat. Liz says, keeping fit. Before retiring, my boyfriend worked at 23 Division. He went in before shift to work out. There were also police sports like baseball and hockey. He also did chief ceremonial unit for a while. And you know what? Marching chief ceremonial unit is a unit that I used to be a part of. And marching is actually good exercise. It's not the same aerobic activity as basically long distance running, but man, you learn to move differently with different muscles that hurt a lot when you're starting out. Ahmed wants to know what the consequences of right turn, U turn, right to pass a light. We've talked about this. I know you asked it twice, but we already covered it. Go Blue Jays with many, many flags from Sophia. I'm sure that your positive vibes are going there. And then you have abrupt Liso, who says, "Let's go Blue Jays." Woo! And there's emojis with with baseballs. Why are you not watching the Blue Jays? Starboy says the whole country is watching the Jays. I'm not a sports guy, and I made a commitment to go here and go live, so I'm here doing what I said I would do. What is this? JR says, "Are you allowed to do the green?" Don't know what you're talking about. What age does someone have to be to sit in the front seat? Amanda wants to know. Amanda, that's a great question. There is no specific restriction on front seat occupancy. There is something talking about children who are toddlers and putting their front seat in if you can't disable the airbag. That aside, most, well, thanks to a conversation with Melody, the mechanic, there are GM vehicles that can disable those so that you can do that lawfully. But let's say, what do we talk? What do we suggest? What do the safety people say you should do? And the answer is 14 years old is when you should consider being in the front seat. And before 14 years old, you should stay in the back seat. Now, I say that, I know that, I don't do that. I have children that have been in the front seat sooner because sometimes that's the only available seat. And the biggest kid is going to be the one who sits there. Age has its privileges. And when you ain't got no other options, you put them where you got to put them. 13 is better in the back seat. And most people say, "What are you talking about? My 13-year-old is 7 feet tall." That may be so. And you make your own decisions, but you read the thing that's like the sticker on your rear view, not your sun visor. It'll say the same thing. Okay. Did I wonder if they were talking about weed? That's what they were probably talking about. Am I allowed to do the green? I hate the smell of it. I think it's disgusting. It's not my thing. So it's legal here. If you do it responsibly. I certainly don't want anything to do with it. What I think is interesting is how much I smell that green on the road, like on the highway and traffic, people smoking, which by the way is against the law, even if it's the passenger smoking. Abrupt Liso is back to the game. Take care. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you. Let's see here. Sean, I have to go as I have an early flight home in the morning. Hope you have a good night and a fantastic tomorrow. Thank you, Brandon. Let me know when you're back. Let's try and make that lunch we've been talking about for a year happen. And let's see here. Calvin says, what is this? Calvin says, "Are you allowed to turn left at a 3-way stop while you don't have a light and the other way is red for pedestrians?" I'm trying. What is it? What is an example of that intersection? Like if you have a red light, that means that you have to come to a stop. If there's no sign that says you can't make a right turn on a red, or if you're not in a province that has restrictions on that, then you should be able to do that if the coast is clear. But I'd like to know a more specific location, so I might give you the most appropriate answer. But that said, a right turn on red in Ontario, for instance, is lawful as long as it's not signed otherwise, and you've come to a complete stop and ensure that it's safe to make the turn. Mom in Alberta says, "Hey, my first ever traffic ticket is on December 23rd. Chances of a no-show? I'm not going." The answer is there's always chance, right? And I don't know how the Alberta courts deal with it, but very often the traffic courts, if the officer is not present, they will put it over, or sorry, they'll dismiss it. Very often, if there's extenuating circumstances, a particularly heinous. I'm looking for another word besides heinous. I can't find it. Yeah, if it's a really serious charge, they might put it over because of an emergency or a legitimate thing like the officer is required on duty and not just dismiss it. But very often in Toronto, they'll dismiss it. So depends on how Alberta does that. Calvin says it's red for pedestrians only. So that signal is not at all for drivers. The drivers don't have to stop. I need to understand that intersection. Okay, Amanda M says, what does do you have to be to? Oh, what? Yeah, I don't know what that question is. Oh, front seat. What do you have to be? Oh, we talked about that earlier, I think. Bum. You have to yield to pedestrians if they're allowed to go. You let pedestrians go. That's the I don't know. Okay. Amj says, "Hello, sir. Are you enjoying your retirement? I'm loving not waking up at 4 in the morning. I was working straight days, and it was 4 in the morning wake ups, and I basically ran on very little sleep. But I do enjoy having more time with family and being able to run my own business is good." Melody says, "McMullen Appliance and Mattress is the proper name for the TikTok account for our friends over there." Remedy says, "So many people have blue and red lights where I live." Are you talking about headlights? Are you talking about flashing lights? Are you saying you live in a police station? What are you saying? Uh, this user wants to know if I'm Canadian. I am Canadian. I think I need to add a Canadian flag to the backdrop. I am Canadian. I talk about police stuff in general, but the laws that I am most familiar with are Ontario traffic laws and Canadian criminal code. What do you recommend, military or OPP? That's a pretty very that's so OPP is the Ontario Provincial Police. The military is the military. I have no experience with the military. I have the utmost respect for them, but I don't have any experience other than talking to their new drivers. I do presentations for the Canadian Armed Forces driver program, and I appreciate them. I do. They do something that I don't want to do, which is travel and go fight in the dirt. But the OPP, the Ontario Provincial Police, they do all sorts of different policing, and they do municipal level policing in areas that don't have their own municipal police forces. But I couldn't tell you what do you want out of life? You want to travel the world and play with big guns, or do you want to deal with helping communities locally? They're both honorable. It depends on what you want. This particular individual says, "I ride my bike every day in Toronto. Are couriers on electric bikes allowed to be in bike lanes?" Well, it depends on what we're talking about. Is your bike a pedelec or does it have a throttle? Now, in the city of Toronto, the bicycle lane has restrictions. If you have a bike that looks like a motorcycle, that's not going to be allowed inside of the cycle track, but might be allowed in the cycle lane. I would say go to toronto.ca, look at their bicycling and the law. I just do this right now. Let's go to it. Let's go see what it looks like. Toronto.ca. I got too many computers here. I actually have links to this if you go to trafficcop.ca. Why is that website not opening up? Okay, how is the Toronto website not working? Like, City of Toronto website's broken? Oh, it loaded up now. Actually, I'm just gonna go to trafficcop.ca. It's gonna be easier because it's my trafficcop.ca. I got a bunch of links there that will help you out here. And let's see what the Toronto stuff says. Scroll down to the bottom. I haven't looked at this in a while. And I don't even have the right page here. At least riding an e-bike. Yeah, I have the Ontario pages, not the Toronto pages. Go to toronto.ca. You can find it. I'm not going to spend time looking for it right now just because I don't want to get lost down a rabbit hole, which I am very capable of doing. But it is, there are restrictions. So pedelecs can be anywhere. Cycle tracks are restricted to those that have that look like bicycles and that aren't the oversized fake motorcycles. But being a courier, I'm not aware of the restriction. Maybe they brought some new legislation out. Don't know. Gurkamal Singh says, "How does it feel to be retired?" It's not real retirement. I work harder now than I've ever worked in my life, but it's good. Use Camaro salutes with a peace sign. What's going on? How you doing? Magnus says, "Now that you're retired, do you plan to continue to keep updated on the laws and etc.?" I absolutely do. I read up on this all the time. It's still very much a full-time gig because I've created a not-for-profit that wants to educate and make roads safer, educate road users and make roads safer. And there's a lot of people in the space, but I approach it from a very different way, like the way you're looking at right now. So keeping up on laws is important to me. That said, I don't have the wonderful group available to me. I used to sit on all the committees with the Toronto Police and travel with the provincial committees. I used to go to all the meetings. It was different. Now I'm all self motivated. Blackout headlights. What about camber? What's the laws? Well, blackout headlights, if you're talking about covering your headlights, it's illegal. You can't tint them, can't obscure them. What about camber? Well, depending on the level and Melody can weigh in, but camber has limits. A mild camber adjustment may be legal, but major camber where you're running on the sidewall or on the side of the, what do you call that? It's the crease of the side. I don't know what the hell it's called. Anyway, that would be unsafe. That's reducing your contact patch to nothing. And I take you off the road for unsafe. All these things fall into the unsafe category. Is it fine if I speed when cops aren't around? That's from SK, who is trying to be funny, but it's not that funny. What's the legal front window tint in Ontario? Are you talking about, this is from Sandu? Is it the front windshield that you're asking about? Because that's zero. If you're talking about the windows directly left and right of the driver, it's 30% light blockage, meaning 70% of the visible light has to get through. But that is for safety certification and ensuring that you are not considered driving an unsafe motor vehicle, which would mean removal of your plates and being told to get a tow truck. Now, if you have less than 30%, you can get certified and you might be okay driving during bright sunny days. But at night, when no one can see inside your vehicle, expect to get a ticket for $110 for obscuring the interior of your motor vehicle with color or reflective tint. That's the thing. It's expensive. It's continuous and forever. It's not good. It's not safe. Tinted windows are not a good thing. Get sunglasses. They're much more effective. They don't look as cool. Well, mind you, if you got cool shades, people can't see them if you got tinted windows. Truth Seeker says, well, in defense of all commenters, the comments are limited to a few sentences. Yes, sometimes it gets broken up, but sometimes AI feeling filters, they try and protect those people in here. If you say anything really racist or horrible, it just gets removed. I never even see it. Mind you, some things I see. In any case, it tries to do a good job. Hello, sir. ATVs that travel on public roadways, are signal lights part of the requirement? Ian, I don't use this. I've never been in an area that I've driven through it, but I've never been involved in policing areas that allow ATVs. I think they do, but I don't know. So let's have a look. I'll look it up. But it's very, very specific areas that allow it. Like you have to be in a jurisdiction that allows ATVs to be on the road, and there's very specific regulations and requirements. So let's have a look. What are the requirements for operating an ATV on the roadway in Ontario? Let's see what we come up here, right? Asking the knower of everything. Driver's license with at least a G2 or M2, must be 16 years old. And this is where you have to, so it's Ontario Regulation 31803. Has to be registered as an off-road vehicle, insured under the motor vehicle liability policy. Headlights, taillights. Doesn't say anything about signals that I can see. Have to wear a helmet. And there's speed, what's it called? Speed things. Where I know that certain roads, the maximums that you can travel. There's way too much information on this. Here. On a highway where the speed limit is 50 or less, the ATV may not go more than 20. On a highway with a posted speed limit over 50, they can go no more than 50. And the municipalities may set additional restrictions. Like, for instance, you can't be on any in Toronto. Just saying. Okay. Melody says, highly unlikely to find a vehicle that was built without signals, maybe super old, like a Model T. That's from a previous question about when do you have to use hand signals. Hey, if you're watching and you're like, who is this guy? Well, it says it on the screen, but I'll tell you myself. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer who talks about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. And my goal is to make roads safer through education. I want to be here to answer your traffic and police questions. And that's what I do. In addition to a whole bunch of stuff, I used to do this 5 days a week as a media relations officer for the traffic services unit. And now I do it as part of the Canadian Organization for Better Traffic Safety and Education. It's a not-for-profit. If you decide you want to support the work I do, you can certainly go to bettertraffic.ca, or you can go to askatrafficcop.ca. And there's ways of supporting us. If you have a company you want to sponsor us, let us know. We'd love to have you on. Any little bit helps. It's just, it's something you can do to contribute to the mission. Delamain 21 says Jay's 3-1. Awesome. Okay. Oh, PP Poop Poop. It's that's literally their username. I think we've seen you in the show before. He says here, I did 170 kilometers an hour every day on the 407 for 50 kilometers one way for 2 months straight, and I never got pulled over. Hey, um, it was illegal. It was stunt driving. I'm glad you didn't kill anybody and that you didn't hurt yourself or anybody else. It's illegal. You didn't get stopped. You got lucky. I can't say anything about that. We need more cops doing more enforcement, and uh, really sad that the ETR, the 407, has the ability of knowing exactly how fast you were going. I think laws should be in place to monitor your time that you get on the highway and time you get off, and to write you a ticket for anything you do illegal in between. That's what I think. Okay. Sandu, excuse me. Sandu says, if I'm at a red light stopped, can I text? Nope, you can't use your phone unless you're legally parked. It's a $615 ticket. If you do, and it has a whole bunch of demerit points and a suspension on conviction and all that jazz. So, no, you cannot touch your phone, save and accept to touching a mounted phone for the purposes of answering or hanging up a call. But you can't pick it up. You can just tap or swipe to answer, tap or swipe to hang up. That is being permitted by the courts. That is it for a mounted phone specifically. In emergency situation, you got to call police. You're allowed to use your phone. Texting, legally parked. That means if you pull over in a no stopping zone to use your phone, you are illegally parked and eligible for distracted driving charges. Dallas wants to know what times I can drive as a G1 in Ontario. You can drive with a supervising driver who has 4 years experience and a full G license between, well, how about this? You can drive at any time other than midnight to 5 a.m. There's a blackout period from midnight to 5 a.m. for you. And of course, you must maintain a 0 BAC, and the supervising driver must be legal to drive, meaning they have to have a BAC that is not over 0.049, which means they have to be legal, because 0.05, they're illegal or prohibited from driving. Spokesman for the people says a spot, or asks, I should say asks, it's asks. Spokesman for the people wants to know, aside from speeding, what constitutes stunt driving? Well, there's about 14 different triggers, 13, 14. It's an estimate. Driving with someone in your trunk, stunt driving. Driving whilst not in the driver's seat. I don't know how you do that, but yeah, stunt driving. Breaking traction whilst in the turns, you're drifting, is absolutely stunt driving. Marked departure, so you're zooming between traffic, taking off and driving much faster than everybody else, stunt driving. Preventing someone from changing lanes by way of, zoom into their path, stunt driving. There's a ton of different ways. Well, no, there's 13-ish. What else? I have to pull it up to get some others. But I think, well, then there's of course the speed. But you've said no to the speed. You don't want to know about the speed. What else is there? Let's see. We'll come back if anything pops into my head. But those are the big ones. All right, Wharf. As a volunteer as a volunteer firefighter on my way to the fire hall, can I use the crossovers on the highway? You have no special privileges as a volunteer firefighter, unfortunately. I'd love to give you more authority. I don't have that authority to give anybody authority. So my understanding is the only thing you get with a volunteer firefighter or volunteer medic status that qualifies for the flashing green light is the ability to use your green light to ask for the courtesy of please get out of my way. And it's a please, it's not a mandatory. You can't speed, you can't break any laws. So I am not aware of a crossover exemption. User 8675309. Not to mention the windshield tint. Yeah, windshield tint not permitted. Pierce Quill, retired cop cars. I have one. One cop tells me it's illegal. Others say it's legal. I'm not aware of any jurisdiction in Ontario that makes police cars illegal to operate or own because they're just cars with additional equipment and sometimes less equipment, like really crappy trim internally. What makes a cop car a cop car? Like the heavy duty coolant system? Why wouldn't that be legal? Now, if you have a police car that says police on it, there's really no law that says, unless you're putting yourself out there as a police officer impersonating, which would be against the law. Now, other jurisdictions after that horrible event that took place, a number of years ago where someone posed as a police officer and did some things that were, well, I don't know, like they were doing bad things. They unalived a bunch of people. They were talking about making it illegal. But how do you make like that? He drove a Ford Taurus, I think. You can't make all Ford Tauruses illegal. So what makes your vehicle an ex-cop car? Like you can't have a siren, that's illegal. You can't have red and blue flashing lights, that's illegal. Okay. Ian JB says, can a public citizen be held liable for directing traffic at a collision scene? You can. You're not legally permitted to direct traffic. Like when the big power outage went, everyone was directing traffic. They are not allowed to direct traffic, but they were doing the best thing. Could they be charged? Possibly. Would they be charged? Unlikely. If the police officer showed up and took over and they wouldn't leave, well, that's different. That's failing to take direction from a police officer. That's different. And it could be other things as well. But if you're doing your best thing to be a good citizen, I can't imagine a police officer laying a charge. Now, here's where it gets funky. What happens when you're directing traffic poorly and you cause a collision? Now, can someone sue you for that? Yeah. Yeah. And then they could take your house. Because courts do that kind of thing. Because you're not trained and you have no ability in being a good Samaritan. There's an assumption that you know what you're doing if you're taking on that responsibility. And if you don't, yeah, could you be liable for your actions? Absolutely. And I'm not a lawyer, but that's what's up. Okay. Do you guys have a ticket quota? I have never, ever, ever had a quota, never been told I had to produce a certain number of tickets in order to be able to go home or be able to get my vacation or not get into trouble or not be, cleaning toilets with a toothbrush. Like, no, there's never been any kind of manipulation or encouragement to say you must do stuff. But I used to write as many as I possibly could because I know that writing tickets is a way of changing driver behavior. And I want to do that. I want to make roads safer. So education through enforcement was something is something I really believe in. Yeah, I scrolled too far back. And now I'm trying to find my place. Here we go. What was this? Brad Walker was responding about headlights and to Dallas. So Dallas asked the question that I somehow missed. What times can I drive as a G1? And Ian JB, no. Brad Walker was telling him about, was it M1 or G1? G1. Okay. So what Brad Walker was talking about was M1. An M1 rider can drive from a half an hour before sunup to a half an hour after sundown for a motorcycle. That's M1 license, not G1. I don't think anyone was asking about M1, but that answer is accurate for motorcycle, not car. Car is you cannot drive between midnight and 5 a.m. But there's no other stipulation. And with an M1, you drive alone. You ride alone. With a G1, you have to be supervised. But thanks for bringing that up. It's a good thing to talk about. Motorcycles. Anybody still riding? It's getting cold. Your tires are less sticky. And there's more salt coming, or salt is coming soon. Have you thought about putting winter tires on? Oh, we're gonna have a whole conversation about winter tires next week. And I'm working on a deal for y'all. Working on getting you a deal. Maybe something we can do here. I get approached by companies all the time, and you don't hear me talking about it because I don't want to endorse somebody if I don't believe in them. Now, this isn't about getting paid to endorse. It's about endorsing things I believe in. And what I want when someone comes up to me is a deal for you. So I'm working on a deal for you. And I hope to be able to get you a coupon code. That's something I'm working on. We'll talk more about it when it actually happens. But yeah, working on stuff and things to benefit my audience because I care. Okay, we talked about that. Ivan the Terrible. Before and after work and every what is this? Before and after work, any and every person is a travel. Oh, come on. Ivan the Terrible doesn't know the frickin' law. He's going to, a traveler baloney. You guys, this is Freeman and the Land baloney. It's fiction. I don't know why people, like, how gullible are you that you believe in this stuff? You're being laughed out of courts. Freeman and the Land come up and say, I am not the corporation, and I'm the corporation who owns the name, but I'm not Freeman and the Land baloney. Sovereign citizen crap. Sorry, not a thing. Sandu says, I was told by a cop that no tint should be on a front windshield. That's correct. No tint should be on a front windshield. It's an unsafe motor vehicle if you tint your windshield, and you can lose your plates and have to get towed. And in certain jurisdictions, any modification, any tint is an unsafe vehicle. In Ontario, you can have some on the sides. You can have as much as you want on the back, but the ones left and right of the driver are regulated. In the windshield, you can't have any. Now, you can have some if your vehicle was manufactured before 2017. But 2017 and newer, you can't have any. 2016 and older, you can have a 3-inch strip across the top or to the AS1 line. Okay. Susan Edwards sent gifts, roses, and hearts. Thank you, Susan. Much appreciated. Sorry you waited so long to hear back. I'm just getting to that now. And thank you, Marcus and Lil. I can't read your name. Public Safety Service followed. All these people followed. Appreciate you following. James says, I have to get done before I leave inside and have to be live on air. Okay. I don't know the context to your statement, but if you're going live on air, have a good show, whatever you're doing. And if you are you a broadcaster? Maybe you've left already. Send me a DM. I want to know where you're broadcasting. Yes, Canada goalie says, Ivan the Terrible, you are operating a motor vehicle, not traveling. And right you are, sir. Boom, boom, boom. Striz2 says, would it be excusable to speed if I had an emergency? No. This was a discussion we had that's been happening on an Alberta, I think it's an Alberta or BC lawyer's account. And this person, talks about how there's always these exceptions. In court, you can discuss things, and you might find a court that is concerned or sympathetic, and they might drop charges because it's in the best interests of warm hugs to let you off with speeding. Did you break the law? Yeah. If you speed, you break the law, emergency or not. And your emergency does not allow you to put yourself and others at risk. So we talk about guaranteed arrival as police. If you're trying to get somewhere to help others, whether they're in your car or going to a location to help others when you get to wherever you're going, you're of no help to anyone if you cause a collision and become the next patient in the emergency. I need to get there to help, not become a problem on the way where more resources are now coming to assist me because I done something stupid by going super fast or like, how about this? You're in a stressful situation when you're driving in an emergency. And emergency driving isn't for everybody. Not every cop is good at it, which is why you do it slowly and in a controlled situation with lights and sirens whilst following all the rules all the way there. And you get there as quickly as you can. But that's it. If it's truly an emergency, medical specifically, call an ambulance, call 911. The police, fire, or ambulance will come and assist. Fire usually gets there first. They stabilize the person until the paramedics arrive, who then further stabilize and then prepare to transport. And they do that all properly when it's in the best interests of the patient, after either medicating or ensuring that they're in the best situation before moving them. And then they get them there as quickly as possible, legally and safely. When I was being rushed to the hospital after my collision, they did something called a emergency run. They shut down every intersection from my collision spot to Sunnybrook Emergency Trauma Center. And there was not a stop. They didn't touch the brakes the entire way there. In fact, I remember levitating off of the gurney that I don't even think I was strapped to after my collision because they were getting me there fast. If I was in a private vehicle doing that, I probably would have crashed the second time. The crash was me being hit by a car, but that's what I'm saying. Anyway, it's never excusable. I appreciate the stress, but think about that. Professional driver focused on doing what they're doing while a medic is monitoring your vitals in the back versus mom, dad, cousin, brother, sister, spouse, whatever, freaking out trying to get them their emergency to the hospital. It adds issues. We'll leave it at that. Anti-social media says, hey, Sean, what are your thoughts on the automated speed camera removal? I think it's disgusting. I think it's absolutely wrong. I mean, disgusting doesn't cover it, but we're taking away something. If they've actually approved it 100% that it's coming out, it's wrong. They shouldn't be doing it. I don't understand the motivation to take away something that is proven to work. I think it's political. I think it's for votes. It's certainly not about safety. I was just talking to somebody who runs a major charity that is in the safety space, and they're dumbfounded, as am I. that this is the direction we're going. I'm really hoping that the government gets sued, and I'm really not looking forward to the tragedies that will come when the monitoring goes down, because locks keep honest people out of your house. Bad guys will still do what they do. The 50% of the 50% reduction in speed that we know is occurring as a result of the placement of these cameras will evaporate. So instead of having only the outliers, only the super D-bags who are speeding in school zones, now we're going to have more people speeding in school zones thanks to this change. Good work, government. You lose again. Oh, but the speeders will thank you and they'll probably vote for you. Yay. Apparently, I'm being negative these days, and that's not from I had a friend of mine say, you're being negative these days. I think there's a lot of crap going on in the world. So if I'm being negative, it's the weight of the world on my shoulders. But I'm trying to be more positive. I'm really a happy person, truthfully. All right, let's go. Let's keep going. Ahmed says, I'm an auxiliary with TPS and I'm 21. Should I apply as a cadet or a constable? I didn't know a cadet is the next step. I don't think we have a cadet program. But if you're an auxiliary, I used to be an auxiliary with Toronto Police. It's the best gig in the world. Now, apply as a constable. If they say yes, become a constable. If they say no, apply to courts. Apply as a special constable. Apply to anything you get hired to. Get into the family. Stay in the family. Have a wonderful career. Okay. Brad Walker, you're absolutely right about tint. They said you're allowed tint in Ontario, but if the officer thinks you're too dark, then you can get a ticket. Yes. But you can also get unsafe charges depending on how dark we're talking about. Papa Rib says, what do you think or what do you feel about the 40% of police stat? Don't know what stat you're talking about. We got Sandu says, I was charged a ticket for not having an inspection report on a truck, but I had, and cop ripped the ticket. I'm sorry, what? You got charged for not having an inspection report on a truck, but you had the inspection report, I'm assuming. That's not what you said, but I'm assuming that. And the cop ripped the ticket. You mean they issued the ticket or they ripped it up after you showed them that I'm not picking up what you're putting down, my friend. 6'10" says, exclamation, legalize pit maneuvers on left lane campers. That might be a little excessive. Just saying. Just possibly maybe a little excessive. I totally get that left lane campers can be frustrating to people who want to speed. If they're going under the speed limit, I believe that they should be ticketed. If they're doing the speed limit, I believe that the speeders who want to go faster should slow the hell down. Just saying. Tobital, what is this? Tobital Court? Question about rideshare lane. Does a second passenger need to be a licensed driver? No, it is an occupant and not a licensed driver. So when you are in a HOV lane, it says you have to have two people in the HOV lane, children, babies, humans, any human, licensed or otherwise. What a dummy. Sorry, Ivan. I know I'm labeling you, but you're spouting all this Freeman of Land baloney, and it is baloney. They're saying that drivers are commercial and trying to suggest that laws from the 1800s are laws that govern driving, or possibly, I don't know. I really don't have time for it. We're moving on. Omar says, what speed do police normally pull over cars on the 407? Couldn't say. I've never policed the 407. That's done by the the OPP HOV. Okay. Ivan really wants to talk about travelers versus driver. Yeah, I've already said it. Theo Game says, while waiting for my G license in mail, would I get a ticket for not having the temporary on me? Yes, because if you don't have your temporary, you don't have a license. You have to surrender your license. That green temporary, if it's still green, is the only thing you have to surrender, and you must surrender it upon demand of a police officer, or you're looking at a $110 fine. Austin Beamer says, why so much road range and parking lots at Costco over parking spots? Because it's a stressful situation there. Oh yeah. That explain to me how there are people there at every hour of the day. Do they not work? I mean, I have an excuse. I'm self-employed, but how is everybody out spending money there? But yeah, I thought the best part of Actually, my favorite thing about shift work was going to Costco at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday when no one was there for 10 minutes. Then a million people show up. Adam Bruining. What province are you a police officer? I was a police officer in the province of Ontario. I'm no longer a police officer unless it says former police officer on the screen. Uh, Satamo says, I definitely swing by your streams from time to time. Nice to get information on things I'm unsure of. Satamo, I appreciate you. That's exactly why I'm here. I'm here to help you when you need help. And if you don't need help, then I'm glad to say hello and goodbye. But I'm here on a regular basis to make sure that you have someone to ask. It's not always easy to call the front desk of a police station or walk up to an average cop and hope that you get the answer you're looking for because they may not know. Not every cop knows traffic. Not everybody thinks it's interesting as I did and do. Some people think it's this thing that not real cops do. I think the realist cops are the ones that are busy making difference every day. Traffic cops do that. Thank Wolf Weaver. Thank you, Wolf Weaver, for answering. Let's see here because they said I was with Toronto. 8906 says, what about clearing chrome headlights and taillights? No red or orange markings, but colored bulbs. That's lawful. The light color of light you're projecting is the appropriate color. And there are manufacturer lighting systems that do that. Now, I don't know about changing them to aftermarket, but certainly the ones that come with. And see, and Melody concurs and says, as long as the projected color is the appropriate light, it's okay. Brad Walker says, I've had 10% on all my cars for over 20 years, never had an issue. We're talking about tinted windows. Are you talking about 10% light getting through, meaning 90% tint? Or are you saying you only had 10% light tint on the vehicle? I have a feeling you're saying 90% tint. Rye Guy says, if you had to morph into a vehicle, which would it be and why? I don't know. Morph into a vehicle? Like I was a transformer? Wouldn't I want to be Optimus Prime so I could say, Autobots, roll out? I've been waiting for like a week to say that. Let's see here. What are the odds of becoming an officer after getting a DUI? Slim. Slim, but not completely. You have to get a pardon for it. And it would have to be so dated. I think it would be slim, but it's not impossible. I'm sure things happen. So yeah, don't expect you'd have to be 5 or 10 years after before even thinking about it. I think, but talk to a recruiter if that's something you want to do. Bot says he admitted to it. Sent him to okay. A says, hey, I have a new back wheel drive, and I need. What is this? I need to kind of know the limits. Test empty parking lot? No. Racetrack, yes. Testing the limits. So here's the thing. People always talk about rear wheel drive cars, not back wheel drive. I've never heard anyone ever say back wheel drive in my life until now. But hey, new things everywhere. Maybe that's a new thing. Yeah, if you go to a parking lot, stunt driving laws apply there. So if you are doing burnouts and donuts and things, testing the limits, you can get charged. Same thing as stunt driving on the road. Now, if you're driving until you lose traction and then stop losing traction and regain control, that's not the same thing, but not every officer will look at it that way. So you might be looking for trouble. I would say take a driving course and let them take you to a place where it is permitted. Bot says it's bot 90 blah blah blah. Lots of numbers. I use push to talk, hit the Google button, and yell at the phone or call to get directions. Push to talk on your phone not permitted. Now, if you have a remote PTT, because certain apps like Zello allow it, and I have PTT remote buttons that are Bluetooth, you can hit a PTT button. You can't hit the phone PTT. If you had a walkie-talkie, or if you have your amateur radio license, you can push the PTT push to talk button legally, but not the phone. But you can have a remote phone or a Bluetooth headset where you can push to talk. It's going to be difficult in court for you because an officer is not going to say you were pushing things. He's not going to say I saw him pushing to talk. He's going to be I saw him using his phone and laid the appropriate charge. And A says, I totally get what you're talking about. The rear wheel drive car, you don't want to lose control. You probably shouldn't have bought a rear wheel drive car for Ontario, but not for the winter anyway. I appreciate take a driving course. Wife got a ticket for plate not being centered on the grill. It's mounted on the tow hook like let's see here. Like, where's Gooch? What province are you in, Gooch? That matters. Maybe the law is different there. In Ontario, it doesn't say it has to be centered. The law doesn't say that. Let me ask, what require a license plate to be centered on the grill or front of vehicle? I'm gonna ask the ChatGPT because it has the fastest way of looking things up, and I can cross-reference. Yeah, I mean center. Okay. Apparently, there's only 3 provinces, Ontario being one of them, that requires front plates. Um, where are you located? Let's see here. I am on a live stream, Ryan. I will call you shortly. Okay, my brother calling. My, you know, truthfully, 9 to 10 is what I'm supposed to be on. 10 minutes late for being available to talk to him. Okay. Yeah, I don't see any British Columbia front and rear plates required. Not so it can't find any verbiage. So please let me know where you are so I can look it up. Ivan, Ivan doesn't like that I've called him a fool for buying into his sovereign citizen baloney. Oops, sorry. Disappointing you. Listen, I'm enjoying. If you watch the donut, hey, Mr. Steak, if you watch the donut, which is a copper in where is he? Is he Texas? Is he anyway? He's launched a channel called the Donut, and he has been going to town, putting on the videos with judges, just throwing people in jail for everything Ivan the Terrible is talking about because he's terrible. It's funny though. Okay. I'm going to be wrapping up as quickly as I can, but I want to get through as many of these questions before pulling the plug. By the way, if you got a dad joke, send it to me. I'd love to share it. Okay. Is there a flow of traffic law in Ontario? The flow of traffic concept is a teaching concept, not a legal concept. So go the flow of traffic is to say if everyone's doing the speed limit, you should go to the speed limit, not do 40. When you're merging, you should go the flow of traffic so that you don't cause a collision. It is not a license to go above the posted speed limit. Now, you may, for safety's sake, and it's not legal, but you may need to exceed temporarily the posted speed limit in order to get into the highway. You may feel you are needed. It's not an excuse. You can still get charged for speeding, but it's unlikely if everybody on the road is speeding that you will get charged for speeding up to their speed in order to safely merge. That's not a license to go fast. It's just the thing you might have to do because the reality of the world is there's a bunch of boneheads who are speeding. And that means you get on the highway and then you do the appropriate speed and let everybody pass you and give you the finger because they aren't happy with you for doing the speed limit. I had dinner with a friend, was it Monday night? Monday night. He says that he gets high beamed while driving the speed limit in the right lane on whatever road he's on because he doesn't speed it where there's traffic cameras. The ones that they're getting rid of, that's the only reason that guy doesn't speed. Way to go, Ontario government. He's now going to speed because you gave him license to. Anyway, so ticked off with these numpties. Anyway, so the deal is that people want to speed, and they're going to, but they're not going to speed behind me, or I'm not going to speed to make their lives easy. There's no law that says I have to speed. State of the right, slower moving traffic has to state of the right. That's the only thing it says. Okay, what? So so this is the question. Can I own a police car that says police and go about my day as long as I don't act like an officer? Kind of, sort of. There's no law that says you can, at the moment in Ontario, and I don't think other than possibly one province, I don't think there's a federal law. You can't impersonate a police officer. But what if you own a classic police car? As long as it says not in service, my understanding is, and I'm not a lawyer and I'm not telling you to go do this, my understanding that that's not against the law. It's not a good idea. There are people who hate police. There are people who will shoot at police. You don't want to be in a police car when people are opening fire on you because they think you're a cop. So it's a dumb thing to have a police car that says police. But I don't think there's anything specifically illegal if you're not trying to impersonate one, which sounds insane, right? Some legal experts might disagree with what I've just said, but then they can show me the law that says that it's illegal because I'm not aware of one. I've not found it. We've had this discussion at the Toronto Police. Cannot find it. Maybe somebody has found it since then. Da, da, da. And for Gooch, I really want to know where you're located. Okay. Do I know John Nolan? I've written to him. What do we got here? Is it legal to work in team? What is this? Is it legal to work in teams for tickets? I would have a spotter and a chase car. Yeah, why not? Now, many jurisdictions don't like it because for court, you have to send two officers to testify instead of one. So it's more expensive in the court process. But Toronto used to do it all the time. Still, police services do it all the time. OPP does it famously. They'll have somebody on a bridge and they'll have like 5 cars rated in the chute to go after them. They'll radio say, car, blue sedan, 20 kilometers over, 100% legal. Is that why you aren't watching the Blue Jays game? So I'm not a fan. I'm not a watch sports. Uh, Darren Phillips says, "What do you think of that video of the lawyer saying I'm wrong?" That lawyer has very interesting opinions. I don't agree with everything she says. She's a lawyer. She might know stuff, but I don't agree with things she says. And the nice thing about this is law is about what's written and the interpretations and arguments to support it. You can have two lawyers arguing 2 points in the same law and have it go in 2 different directions. Does it mean it's a good lawyer? It means a good salesperson. You're selling your perspective or showing evidence of case law. But what I see them doing isn't that interesting to me. Sometimes they're interesting. Like I thought it was really funny where they blew into I think a civilian, like a aftermarket roadside screening device thing and said, "Here, look, if I blow into this after eating a banana, it gets a reading." Okay, but no cop says eat a banana and then blow into a roadside screening device. It'll clog the sensor. Not smart. But hey, they're trying to make a point. They're trying to say, oh, we pull someone over, you're in a roadside screening device. You need a declaration of when you had your last food, gum, anything in your mouth, and we'll wait the 15 minutes roadside if we have to, because you don't want a false reading. And that's only for the roadside screening device to then go and make a demand and take you to a breath technician at a station. Like, anyway, I'm going off on a tangent because I'm not impressed with their videos, at least most of them. We got hello, then I don't know what this username is, but where exactly did you serve? Just want to know the jurisdiction of your knowledge. Ontario. My focus is Ontario, but Canadian. I mean, I was a Canadian officer, but my traffic law is specific to Ontario. Although I know stuff and things about other jurisdictions. If you have a question, let me know where you're at. Okay. I have a DOT question. If this is Canadian, I'm located in Alberta. You can ask the question. I don't necessarily know how to work, but I see Melody already responded, and Melody is a mechanic. Okay. Okay. Sliding down here. Okay. Traveling. Oh, God. Traveling in the Constitution and in Canada, they mean traveling on foot using motor. Okay. Melody. Are you a big baseball fan? I'm not anything fan. I don't want to watch people who make millions of dollars playing games that I used to play as a kid for free. They're good at it, not by all means. Trucker D says, why are the RCMP completely corrupt? They know Trudeau should have been in jail, so why isn't he? That's a really good question. I mean, yeah, I love watching politics. It's a train wreck, but I love watching politics. Richard says, I've been trying to desperately get an answer to this question. It's about commercial vehicles. I don't know if I have an answer for it either, but let's find out. And if I don't get to your question, or if you have a question that is really complex, email me at voiceovercop@gmail. I can always send it to a colleague and see if I can get you an answer. It's Vinny from Canada wants to ask a question. What's the penalty for crossing white lines on an off ramp you almost missed? Oh, so you're driving off roadway if you cross the bullnose. If you're past the white lines, it's not just crossing the intersection of 2 lanes, the lines that divide lanes. You're talking about making a careless and dangerous maneuver, and that can be quite serious. So it depends on what you're charged with. It depends on if you caused any issues or if it was just careless or reckless or dangerous. Like they could go criminal, they can go just careless. Depends. What's the scenario? What happened? Bot says, I think they should have met in the middle on camera. I don't know what we're talking about. I don't have I'll look up for that. Do me a favor on the yeah, again, complex questions, ask me on voiceovercop at Gmail. You can also go to askatrafficcop.ca and send me voicemail. Bannock says, I believe in school zones for cameras, but not on our highways here. I thought that was money grab. But if you're not allowed to speed and you only get a ticket if you speed, is it really a money grab? You're voluntarily giving it up by choosing to speed. I personally believe they should be on every road, and I believe it should be zero tolerance. And the reason for that is it will instantly stop speeding everywhere. If I guarantee you a ticket where there is no recourse, you can't fight it, 100% give you a ticket. Don't speed. You won't get a ticket. In fact, you should probably go 5 kilometers under the limit to ensure you don't get a ticket, because God forbid you actually hit the speed limit. Now, I'm, for the purposes of being ridiculous, making that statement. Why is it unreasonable if they're not giving tickets for 1 and 2 kilometers over? And now, if they are, it's totally unreasonable. I agree with you. 10 kilometers over, and then they give you tickets, that would be reasonable. 5 kilometers over, you get a warning, that would be reasonable. 3, 4 kilometers, not worth anyone's time. But I believe that they should be on every roads. And then 100% they should be in school zones. Aaron Yeager wants to know what an illegal stop is. What is an illegal stop? I don't know. I've never made one. What's an illegal stop? Stopping someone for what? You're allowed to, in Ontario, you're allowed to stop any driver to ensure they're licensed, that they're insured, that they're licensed, insured, sober, and driving a vehicle that's safe for the road. Is it legal to drive a 6-wheel on a no truck route if your job is close to it? So if you have a no truck route, but you're driving a truck for the work you're doing on that specific location that you have to go for the purpose, my understanding is like a garbage truck. You got to go to service the stop. What do you do? Not pick up the garbage? Borat from Team. Are you related to Ben Shapiro? We are not related that I'm aware of. I watch his show, but I don't believe we're related. Brad wants to know what the laws are for towing 2 trailers. Commercial vehicles can tandem tow. Some super long, like the longer RVs. There's been modifications to the regulations around those. I have to look it up to see if it's changed. But generally speaking, commercial requirements are it needs to be commercial for tandem tow, and the average person can't tandem tow. That's my understanding. Chris says, being at the intersections of a red light, city bus next to you, light goes green, you have to let him go first. That's interesting. And I had this conversation with myself while beside a TTC vehicle yesterday. And I remembered having the conversation on a previous show a couple years ago. So you have to yield to them, but they're beside you. If you go, they're not going to accelerate faster than you. Do you have to yield to them? I don't think so. I don't think if you're both at the front that you have to let them go first. If you are beside them far back enough that you see the yield sign and you got to let them in, I believe that you got to let them in. That's clear. You got to yield to the bus. When it wants to make over, you have to let them in. But I don't think you have to halt all traffic and let them go first. I think that's unreasonable, and I don't think it's what the law is intended. I don't think it's also specified. Now, it's specific. Now, hang on a second. It's also if they're servicing a bus cutout. It's not for every situation. It's specifically if they're stopped servicing a bus stop. And I've got a buddy who's TTC, and he can confirm it for me. I'll have to look into what his interpretation, what their training is on it. But I'm 99.99% sure it is specific to servicing a bus stop in a cutout, not just because there's a bus on the road. Okay. Joe Sardo wants to know if you can tow a dump trailer with my personal truck, or does it not need to be a dump trailer? It depends on the weight rating of your vehicle. Like, what are you allowed to do? Bannock says it has to be a 5th wheel trailer to tandem tow. Interesting. I don't know enough about towing to be able to comment. Richard wants to know, it says the question is about boomers and chains. Can you boom directly to your trailer? I have no freaking clue. I have an Alberta copper I can talk to, though, to find out. Roaz Bari says, "Hey, Officer Sean." It's former Officer Sean, but hey, Roaz, how's it going? And ah, A says, "I keep losing track of your page and you're live. How do I get a notification?" You can actually follow me here at VoiceOver Cop. You can also hit the bell notification to get notified when I go live here. You can also follow me on VoiceOver Cop at, well, actually on all platforms, or just go over to askatrafficcop.ca. I got links to everything there too. But it's been a while. Okay. How long is the limit for the court to give a court date on ticket? Generally speaking, uh, they've got to have you in front of a justice of the peace within a year and a half before you could start looking at an 11B application to have it tossed. Jaden has a mental health issue. Unfortunately, their question is ridiculous, and it's about them. I think they're a predator and possibly shouldn't be near schools, just based on the comment. Carl Freeman, what's going on? Carl says, "Good evening, Sean. Good evening, Carl." You see, I can put him on screen because he's on YouTube. Okay, what do we got here? Actually, funny, Jaden. There was a guy who was doing what you claimed to be doing. They had a lot of pepper spray on their junk when they were doing that in front of a school. I hope you're not one of them. And if you are one of them, I hope you get a lot of pepper spray on your junk. Sean says, "I'm applying for SSPD, but I can't afford the fees for Orca." Ontario, they're if you're applying in Ontario, the Ontario government is covering the costs of the college. So maybe you should be applying in Ontario. Okay. On Mel Yes, and Melody confirms that Ontario does not need a front plate centered, so 100%. Roaz, family's good. Thanks for asking. Gooch says 7 oh, Durham region. Really? They tried to charge you for I'd love to know more on that. Speeding in Southern Ontario is crazy. That's from Toxic Mechanic. It's gone out of control, is what it is. So Gooch got the ticket from Durham region saying that the ticket was for improperly displayed plate. I would fight that. Adam wants to know if they can have a radar detector, and the answer is it depends on where you are. In British Columbia or in Alberta, I should say yes. In Ontario, no. Marco Marek wants to know. He says, "I'm in Law 12. What's the best way to pass the class?" Couldn't tell you. Law 12. What are we talking about? Is it like what level are you? A lot of people want to know things about my personal life. Interesting. Tracy, hi. How you doing? Good to see you. And let's see here. Gooch is in Oshawa. Is a modified exhaust okay? I live in to have in British Columbia. I don't know if British Columbia has got a zero modification rule. I think that there's some that just like I know Alberta, you can't modify anything from factory or equivalent from factory. Okay, you can't find the bell. I'm positive that you have a bell. Hang on a second. If you go to TikTok, let me find this for all y'all. Yeah. So if you go to an account like this one, the Gen X guy, see that bell? Like right there, that bell. If you hit that bell after you follow somebody, it'll notify you when you go live. Okay. Darren Phillips says as soon as a trailer has brakes, it's considered commercial. So many argue about this, but really? That's news to me. Are off-road lights and light bars illegal? They're illegal for the road. You can have them mounted, but you can't run them on here. Boom. Core Dog says, I hear you on AM. Yes, I am often on the Jerry Agar show on News Talk 1010. I jump on to take questions from his radio audience. So that's awesome that you hear me there. Who's the she? Let's see here. Darren Phillips was making a comment, but I'm not sure. Aiden says, "Go Jays." Adrian Ginello says, maybe if we had speed limits within reason, not 30 kilometers an hour. Okay, 30 kilometers an hour in a school zone is absolutely reasonable. The reason is to increase the survivability of a collision with a pedestrian. If you hit a child or an elderly person above 30 kilometers an hour, the chances of them surviving that collision are very low. They're children and the elderly. It's about protecting people in areas that need protection, close to seniors' residents, close to schools and community centers, close to hospitals, where it's totally reasonable to want to protect the public. If you were saying the 401 was 30, I'd agree with you, but 30 kilometers an hour is plenty fast in areas where people could be in front of you. And to say that, well, they should really be more careful. No, doesn't fly. Juggling Jim says, question. To that I say answer, potentially, possibly, if you catch me real quick, because we're winding up the show. Let's see here. Card Kajan Ravindran. I can't pronounce your name. Kajan Ravindran. Hopefully I got that right. Also, would you say a large number of cops are car guys? I appreciate the art of tuning. Yeah, totally. In fact, the most interested in cars tend to become traffic officers. I'm a car guy. I totally appreciate all the stuff about modding and stuff. I also appreciate that it has to be legal. There are mods that are legal. There are mods that are not. Queen of Pies. We've talked before, I'm sure, because I love the name. And others have also made their case in their case. Okay, it got cut off. What's the best part of OPC? Everything. OPC is awesome. I really enjoyed it, except for the running. I've never been a running guy. MV says, how many HP and what speed do you have to be going for a cop not to catch you? Cop is at a full, no idea. We have radios. You can't outrun the radio. I thought there was one on this page. Sorry. Okay, the bell. Gotcha. Why do I keep getting tickets for my Underglow? I don't know. Why do I keep getting tickets for my Underglow and Camber kit? Well, the Camber kit, you might be getting legit tickets for because the Camber isn't necessarily legal if it's done in excess. Send me a picture of your car. I'll tell you just from looking at it if I would ticket it. Underglow, if the bulb is visible and you're projecting light to the front or back that is in violation of your headlight or taillight requirements, you're getting tickets for it. If your Underglow is tucked up under the vehicle and the only thing visible is a reflection off the ground, you shouldn't be getting tickets, and I'd fight it. Is it illegal to have a front plate on dash? Yes, the regulation requires you to have it in a conspicuous location at the front end of the vehicle. If you have it on the front windshield, that is not the front of the vehicle. That is 40 to 60% into the middle of the vehicle. And it also is what I call the shuriken of Ontario, because in a collision that will be planted directly in your skull. Just saying. Tessa Wolf Girl says, must be on the front of the vehicle, and they are right. Darren Phillips says, I was saying the BC lawyer who said, I don't know who said here. Okay. Dylan says, hey, Sean, how's it going? Quick questions. Are you never been. Happily married. Thanks very much. Mikey, 100 kilometers up to 120, 110 up to, what are we saying? You want to raise 100 to 120? Hey, I'm cool. If we make every road in Ontario 120, every highway regulated, like expressway, you did get me there, Dylan. Mikey says, so 100 to 120. If you made it 120 and then you did zero tolerance, you did 121, you were getting a ticket, I'd be cool with it. The problem is when you make the roads 120, then the people who believe that 20 over is okay will do 20 over again, and then we'll get the average speed at 140. Where do you draw the line? The law is there not as a suggestion. There is a hard line. And that's why I say photo radar on every road. Get everybody who violates. Boom, boom, boom. Let's fund some traffic safety. Let's fund some people who are starving, all on the backs of the people who can't keep their foot off the gas pedal. That's it. Tessa says 100%. I don't know if they were agreeing with me or with Mikey, but I appreciate the interaction anyway. Listen, it's been a slice. I've been going for 134 minutes. We're going to wrap up the show in just a minute. Oh, Darren Phillips says, I was saying that the BC lawyer hates me when I call her out. Yes, they don't like me. Many people don't like being challenged. I don't like being challenged, but I appreciate that some people bring interesting arguments, and I love the conversations, but I don't want to be wrong. In fact, when people call me out and say, you're wrong, I'm like, let me prove it to you. And then it's a good challenge. It's not that I don't like it so much as I I kind of like it. Maybe I do like it. I like it when I get to be right, which is very often because I'm not making this crap up. Anyway, boop-a-doo, boop-a-doo-ba-doo. Oh, Darren says she makes money off of you breaking the law. Yeah, it's her whole thing is to defend them. Like the whole premise is don't talk to police, don't tell them stuff because they're going to use it against you. Yeah, because you're guilty. She's counseling guilty people, not innocent people. Anyway, the professional says I got pulled over for 93 and a 90 last month. How common is it for police to pull someone over for that? 93 and a 90? I don't think that's common at all. Where were you? You were in on the DVP? That's weird. Maybe they thought you were impaired because you're the only person doing the speed limit. 'Cause I would say 93 is the speed limit. Now, because 3 over could be a difference in tire diameter, error in reporting on your speedometer. Like 3 kilometers, I would never pull anybody over on a 90 zone for 3 kilometers. I probably wouldn't pull them over in a 30 zone for 3 kilometers. So Canadian Electric says, must be shadow banned or something. No answer to my question. I didn't see your question. If depending on what your question was, I may have been flagged by the AI and I never saw it. So not ignoring you, but I did see you now. So ask it again. Maybe we'll see it. Yeah, very, very weird to see 93 and a 90. Did they charge you for 93 and a 90 or they just pulled you over to investigate you? Did you drive some kind of interesting whip? Because maybe they wanted to just check if you were impaired or there was another reason they pulled you over and they were just telling you it was for speed, but it was really for like there's a stolen vehicle with that description and they're looking for it. Okay, in regards to BAC, what exactly happens to the driver in the 0.05 to 0.08 range? It's a warrant range. They get a 3-day suspension if it's the only time within 10 years that it's happened. 3-day suspension, that's it. Lose their license temporarily. No ticket, no nothing. No, is there a ticket? I don't think there's a ticket. I think it's just a suspension. But Darren says, I will tag you in a video. She called me out for calling her out. I want to see it, Darren. Okay, AC3 says, I'm a senior in high school. I would love to get into policing. Do you recommend University of Guelph Justice Studies? I have a diploma in Justice Studies. No, I have a diploma in what the hell is my diploma? I did it while I was with the police. Foundations, leadership, policing, something or other. That I was already on the job. I did it because I was going to take the University of Guelph Justice Studies program that I didn't do because I ended up having children and I got distracted by being a father. I've thought about going back and doing it because I have a bunch of credits towards it. So I think it's great. Do I think you need it to become a cop? No. You can get hired now, just go do it. In fact, many services will allow you to continue part-time education, and in some cases will even pay for it while you're a police officer to allow you to continue through the ranks and support you with higher education. But do you need it to be a cop? No. Is it a benefit in competition? Sure. If you're looking for developing yourself, by all means take it. Nothing wrong with it. But if you can get hired now, I'd say get hired now and continue your education part-time. If you are told you don't have enough life experience, come back in a few years, go get a degree. It isn't going to hurt you. It will help you, but is it necessary if you can get hired tomorrow without it? That's where I'm going. Okay. And being that you're in high school, maybe it's beneficial to get some more stuff and make you a better competitor in the world. Travis Murray says, I think what Mikey meant was that the acceptable speed to drive in a 110 zone compared to 120 and 100. What? Oh, what is there is no acceptable speed limit. Like one cop will pull you over for 10 over, another cop won't. Travis, I don't like speeding is illegal at any speed. I said like 10 minutes ago I was going to shut down, but I had some good questions. AK says, hey, Sean, hope you're well. I got a question. Everyone speeds on the 401. Is it okay to cruise around 20? Legally, no. Legally, it's against the law. I've seen people pulled over for 120. I've pulled people over for 120 in a 90, but still, they were shocked. Mona says, silly question. What could you recommend for a child who unbuckles their car seat on their own? There are some great aftermarket Velcro straps that go around the buckle. It just tightly wraps around and they can't push the button. There's some plastic clips that are also available. Check out Amazon. You may also want to look at The magical. Do I have a link here? Hang on a second. I might have a link here. Check these guys out. Talk to them. Child Passenger Safety Association of Canada, SIPSAC. They do courses. I'm sure they have links. And if you don't find anything, I will look it up. Email me at voiceovercop at gmail.com. I will find something for you. Okay. Luchik and Chong. If I get pulled over without my license but memorize my license number, am I less likely to get 2 tickets? Can't predict that. The license number isn't the end all be all. You are required by law to have your license. If you don't have it, you're eligible for a ticket because it doesn't meet the requirements saying, I have a license. Can you look it up? Or here's my number. Look at, I mean, it's better than not having anything, but I always tell the same story. I pulled over a guy for driving with his headlights off at night. It was a bar scene in 12 Division. Gives me his name, date of birth, address, previous address, gives me all the right answers. I go back to the car, his license is suspended. I tell him, he says, "Oh my God, I can't believe my brother got his suspension." He had never been licensed. The guy was his twin brother or older brother, whatever it was, never been licensed, provided information, doesn't cut it. Duh, 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 duh. How can I get away with booze cruising? Don't booze cruise. Okay. Can I become a police officer at 45 years old or am I too late? You can totally become the oldest guy in my class, I think was 52. So I'm 51 now. I could go and apply to become a police officer now. I can go back to being a police officer. Da, 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 da. Okay. So don't you totally at 45. I was 38, 38 when I was already a member of the police since I was 24, 25. I joined the service in 2000. And then it wasn't until 2012 that I became a police cadet and graduated in 2013. So you're not too old. Do what makes you happy. Life of a TO girl. What happens if my G1 driver finds himself on a highway by accident driving with a G passenger? Get off the highway like as soon as practicable because you can't just I realized I was in the wrong place, but I kept driving till the next city, 7 exits away because, well, I was already there. No, you get off. If you get pulled over, which is unlikely, you explain the situation. You made a wrong turn. You oopsie dude. And the officer could lay the charge, but likely won't. The only person who can take a G1 driver on a highway is going to be a licensed driving instructor. Okay. MV says, "Can you be ticketed for excessive speed from full stop to speed limit without going above the speed?" Yes, you could. It could be careless driving, could be stunt driving. Depends on the officer. Depends on the scenario, who's around. This, where were you? Were the observations made? Were people jumping out of the way? They were freaking out. Like, yeah, you could be charged. Unlikely, but you could be. User lots of numbers says, "Paid by distracted driving. First ever ticket using my phone. Should I go back and fight it?" You paid it, so now you have to apply to reopen it. But if you're guilty, then learn from it and move on. It is a serious offense, and it doesn't impact your insurance, but you've already got a registered, conviction. Your insurance knows about it. Undoing it won't change it, I don't think. I've never had the scenario where I've never seen the results of I fought it after being guilty. Yeah. I have a big problem with people who are guilty fighting tickets. If you did it, you did it. Own up to it. Move on. Learn from it. That's my opinion. That's what I did. I got a parking ticket a couple of years ago now. I did it. I thought I was okay, and I wasn't. I was too close to an intersection. I was disappointed. Paid the ticket. It was like $50. I did it. There's no point in fighting it. I was wrong. What is this? AC3 says, "I was thinking of doing the auxiliary program whilst in university. Do they allow that?" Yes, you need like 150 hours a year, and it's a fantastic thing. You need a full G license. You need your first aid certificate. They may even do the training for it now. But if you're, of the appropriate age to qualify, you have all the requirements, vision requirements, etc. Apply. It's a great experience. Auxiliary is fantastic. Okay, what do we got here? CIF87 says, got a ticket for being on my phone, but I was trying to charge it for GPS. He didn't care. And he doesn't need to, because you're not allowed to touch or use your phone. Unless the only time you can make contact with your phone while you're driving is if the phone is mounted and you can touch it to answer or touch it to hang up. That's it. Fumbling around to charge it for GPS mode, not an excuse, not valid. Can't even be in your lap. Can't even put it on your lap. I am Brady Clark wants to know what's an average monthly pension amount. Have no idea. I don't get a pension. That's another story, but I don't get a pension because I left and cashed out. Matt Fila. So you were a cadet first before becoming a constable? No, I was a auxiliary police constable, which is a volunteer, and I was a special constable court services court officer. Now it's called a special constable, but it was a court officer when I joined, and I was a supervisor when I left. Darren Phillips says 9 times out of 10, if you're nice to the officer, they will let you go and get it and bring it later. Oh, you're talking about license? Yeah. I think 9 out of 10 times is if you're in a small town, because in Toronto, you're getting a ticket. And most big services, like there's no time to go. I'm not going to be there. I'm going to be on the road stuck with calls until I go, and then I'm leaving. So you're never going to see me again. What do we got here? What's the fine? My G1 driver keeps asking. What? What's the fine? My G1 driver keeps asking me what happens if he gets caught on the highway. It's contravening a condition. It's a $90, $110 fine, I believe. And then they get a 30-day suspension the first time, a 90-day suspension the second time, and the third time they get kicked out of the driving program and have to start again. Tracy says, the answer to that is you're never driving my car again. Simple. Well, the deal is that you'd have to be with a supervising driver, so you're probably with your G1 driver while they're making this mistake, because they can't drive alone. Melody says, tell them it's the 30 days in jail. Really, really avoids the highway next time. That's funny. Imperial Federation says, hey, officer, just a weird question. What's the most violent crime I can commit that I can get away with? Yeah. Yeah, I'm not getting into I mean, I know you're trying to be funny, but our criminal justice system is in such a mess. So I won't even go there. Okay. Cool. That's it. I hit the end of the show. Awesome. I don't see any more comments. And as much as I love y'all, I'm going to go spend time with my family, or at least the ones that are awake. Just want to make sure I got nobody else in the chat here. Oh. We got RLC. How long do you have to be at a stop before you turn right? Red light camera. So for making a right turn on red, as long as you've come to a complete stop and it's safe to proceed, you can proceed. The only time you get a ticket from a red light camera is if you don't stop. As long as you stop, you don't get a ticket. I'm glad I looked here. Carl Freeman says 73, because that is code for like it's signing off for us hams, amateur radio people, saying 73. It's that polite way of saying good night or good day or signing off. And I saw it, and he said it again. He really wants to say it, and he said it. Thanks, girl. And what else? What else? Oh, I see they clarified afterwards. I think we're good. I think we got everything. Listen, I will be back on Tuesday at 10 a.m. I'm, of course, available at voiceovercop@gmail anytime. I've responded to a whole bunch of emails all week. If you want to leave me voicemail, you can go to you can go to ask@trafficcop.ca. And that's the thing. Until next week, let me just make sure I don't miss anybody here. Go Jays. Chasey says Jays are going to win the whole thing in Toronto. Interesting. Melody says, I'll take the risk of being pulled over. OPP station across the road from work. They know us. You're funny. B says, take it easy, Sean. Be safe. Tessa says, woohoo, in regards to the whole Jays thing. This is exciting. Listen, I will cheer for them too. I'm a Toronto boy, so I love that they win. I just don't want to watch the game. I find it boring. I took my kid to their first Jays game. We went and got face painting, bought hats. I could care less if the ball was in the air on the ground. I'm just not a sports guy. I'll play the sports. Don't get me wrong. I just don't want to watch other people play it. Listen, the heck was that? Oh,
that was my voice changer.
I don't use that. What I wanted to do is this, which is my outro music to make sure that I can't go back. Have a great night. Drive safe, drive sober. Smile. Happy days are here again. We're getting colder weather and snow. What am I talking about? Be safe out there. Take care of one another. It's a big community. You just get some more smiling. Sean says, Tracy says, don't burp. It sounded like a burp to her. All right. Tuesday morning, 10 a.m. I'll be back. Wednesday of next week, 9 p.m. I'll do this nighttime thing again. In the middle, we'll try and put some videos up and have some fun along the way. Hope you had a good time. If you don't follow me, please do. And we'll talk to you in a week.